And we go to the president of the West Indian American Day Carnival Association because a high-placed lawyer for Governor Cuomo was shot on the morning of Labor Day. And the initial reports ascribed his death to the celebrations. We'll find out if that in fact was accurate or inaccurate by saying a very good morning to Mr. Tom Bailey. Tom, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Rennie. Pretty fine.
Well, you're
recuperating a bit.
Yes, I would think so. Did you get the anticipated 2 million people on the parkway that normally parade up and down?
Yes, indeed, Rennie. This year we surpassed the numbers.
I tried to get my co-host to pass there because she was vacationing, but she would not tell me. She did me a mission impossible. I didn't know where she was, so I could not arrange for her. So let me have her say good morning. She is Sharmain Baboolal. Tom Bailey?
Good morning, Mr. Bailey. How are you?
I'm fine, Sharmain. How are you doing? Sorry to miss you.
That's okay. I was nowhere around, but the thing is, it would have been really good if you're still recuperating. And we also have in studio, she's here for another discussion, but Alison Dimas, and she's also the former chairman of the National Carnival Commission as well. So I don't know if she might have a question to ask you in between while Rennie is talking with you.
And, we'll try to drag her in. It's always reluctant to get a guest to come in, but we'll try anyway. Mr. Bailey.
I'll try to answer it.
Let us talk about what's before us all, because initially we saw this report coming up in the New York Times that the high-placed attorney for Governor Cuomo, he's a graduate of Harvard, he could have gone anywhere to work, he decided to give back to the people. He was born in the Bronx, he was home. He said, fine, I'll go down to the parade. He tragically got involved, he was shot, what many believe to be gang warfare. Make clear to us, did this have anything to do with the parade as was initially reported both by the New York Times and the Daily News?
Quite unfortunate, Rennie. The incident had nothing to do with the parade. It was later, as of 1 day later, it was reduced to the Juve. They moved away from the West Indian American Day Parade to the Juve celebration, which was just as bad. But lo and behold, after further investigation, at the time of the day when the incident took place, it was too early for Juve, it was too early for the West Indian Day Parade. So, I mean, it is associated with the Carnival. All incidents that take place in Brooklyn, regardless to whether it's in the east, west, north, or south of Brooklyn, the Labor Day weekend or Labor Day in particular is normally associated with the parade. Which, I mean, you would know, Rennie, you've been here. In Bushwick, it's the Labor Day parade. In Bensonhurst, it's the Labor Day parade. And this is the type of reporting we have been having over the years, and we have been fighting this down to the letter.
Well, as you know, on New York radio, for the 20-odd years I spent there, this is something we've been fighting every year because when you look at the number of incidents that happen in Brooklyn, generally you're looking at 8, 10, and 12 shootings that normally happen, yet whenever it happens on the Labor Day, it is made a part of the West Indian Day Carnival Association parade, and that is most unfortunate.
Quite true. You don't necessarily have to have Carnival to have shootings in Brooklyn.
No.
All over the world.
No, you don't. But did you get a retraction coming from the New York Times or a correction to make this easier? Because it stains the entire festival. This is not the first year this happened. It has happened repeatedly for the past 8 years, as far as I recall. They've been doing this. Something happens in the area, and they put it to them. And what the general feeling is that it gives the world a feeling of criminality surrounding the festival. Additionally, it runs your sponsors away, does it not? Or at least raises questions.
Quite true. But within recent days, subsequent publications by most or all of the press have come to the conclusion that the parade on Eastern Parkway was in no way responsible, it had no effect on the shooting. It was centered around Juve, our Juve celebration. Resulting from that, we held a meeting, the borough president of Brooklyn called a meeting on Thursday. Elected officials, community officers, New York Police Department, full house. Subsequent to that, a press conference was held, and it was clearly indicated that the incident was not part of our celebration on Eastern Parkway. Although, it's up in the air, some reporters are still sliding in a bit of it, as part of our responsibility.
The voice you're hearing is that of Tom Bailey. He's the president of the West Indian American Day Carnival Association.
Well, Mr. Bailey, is this a normal, like, for want of a better word, or want a better two words, fight down that you have to face, or is it that there's a lack of understanding about what it is, or is it, I have seen here in Carnival in Trinidad, for example, Tico Skinner decided that he's now going to bring a ban, that he used to bring a traditional ban on Carnival Tuesday because of unruly elements in the ban. So he had to give up that bit of tradition and culture because of that unruly element. Are you threatened in any way at all by what could be growing unruly element in it? Because Juve is a free it all up wanton kind of time. So that's where you would get problems. Have you had problems at that level then?
The problem that we see is the Juve is being run by a different organization, not the West Indian American Day Carnival Association that does the parade on Eastern Parkway. It's a completely separate entity. And the Mauritian parish, the Brooklynites, other than Caribbean people, are not fully aware of what Juve is all about. And you have 250, let's assume this is Carnival Sunday night, the night before Monday. 250,000 people in Brooklyn having themselves a ball. Private parties here, private parties there, people all over the place. And, it runs right into the Juve period. So what do you expect? You have the police protection. How much can the police do? But all in all, that's one of the biggest problems they have in Brooklyn here, with the people patrolling the streets on, we call it Carnival Sunday night for a better term.
Well, we do have that problem in Port of Spain, really. It peaked a few years ago, but so therefore you have a problem. So even if it's a different organization that's running this Juve celebration, it's shown to be impacting on what you are doing, which is properly and well organized from what we've heard. So how are you all going to get together and sort this out before anything?
As a result of this meeting, we held on Thursday with the borough president and the elected officials. We are appointing a task force, which to include members of the New York Police Department, both carnival organizations, that's Juve City International and West Indian American, elected officials, community or welfare officers. We are going to be getting together and strategize and see what we can do to eliminate or to, as much as possible, what the problems that we do have.
It is 107.7 Music for Life. You're having brunch with us. The voice is that of Tom Bailey. Tom, context is important here. For a long time, when we look to the sort of reporting we see, for a long time this has been going on because of a ongoing, sometimes articulated, sometimes subtle, sometimes not so subtle attempt by some folks along the Parkway route to get rid of the West Indian American Carnival Day celebration on the Parkway. Anything to do with this biased reporting or this perceived biased reporting? I say perceived because I'm trying to be objective. We know it's biased. Let me just stay to the point. You see any connection with that? I'm wondering if the reporting is always slanted this way because of the desire of vested elements to get the parade off the Parkway.
Well, Rennie, again, as you would know, the parade route, the community through which it passes, you know the composition of the residents of there. Mm-hmm. And over the years, this has been, and it will continue to be, until heaven knows when, to get the parade off the Parkway. But we, at West Indian American Day Carnival Association, have maintained that we belong in that part of Brooklyn, and we have extended our performances not only for Labor Day, but we are working year-round, doing some year-round involvement in our communities, mm-hmm. which is having a very good effect on our being in that part of Brooklyn and the general community, the general public, they're beginning to see what WIADCA is all about. We're not only about having a parade on Eastern Parkway.
Mm-hmm. And
We are
with the
there
community, yes.
to make our presence felt in the development of the community in which we operate.
Tom Bailey, you know me for a long time. As we say in Trinidad, I don't put the water in my mouth to say what I have to say. And there is a Jewish element along the Eastern Parkway who believes that the West Indians, they don't have the right there now that they own up all the property and so on. It is an ongoing battle going on, and it will go on for a long time. But at the end of the day, it has been made clear, you were saying, that this killing was not. I'm really sorry about the first deputy counsel for the Empire State Corporation, which was right-hand man of Governor Cuomo, who was at the parade. And I'm very sorry to hear that you are saying then that the misconception has been cleared up. Tell me how the Labor Day came down. Did the organization make money this time? That's always the question.
I think it's too early to say, but I don't think we made the money that we wanted to make. Again, the economic situation as it is now in terms of sponsorship, we're still struggling with that. Mm-hmm. Trying to pull some out of the city agencies, state agencies, federal agencies. You know how difficult it is to get that because you've been there, you know. But we had a very successful Labor Day 2015. The weather was beautiful, and that created the type of effect which we were hoping to be created.
I'm happy to hear that you got the 2 million people as anticipated, because some folks said that number was dwindling. However, the spending was, in other words, the cottage industries that come up and depend deeply on this. A lot of West Indians depend on putting out their wares, their foods, and so on. You would say that people were spending as normal, yes?
Yes, they were. There were many more of our vendor booths on the Eastern Parkway, and that, I think, has contributed to the financial income of the organization, even though I don't think we have reached where we wanted to reach.
Okay, Mr. Bailey, listening to you and Bishop speak, I know who feels it knows it, but I get the impression, Bishop, that you all own the parkway. I mean, like, nobody's going to come move you all. 2 million people. As a statement
Mr.
annually.
Bailey, you better answer her on that
you
one.
all own the parkway. 2 million people annually. How are you going to move that? And I'm also, it's difficult, Alison, I don't know, to conceive of a Juve of 250,000 people, thereabouts, you know, and managing that, you know, and policing Carnival is an art and a skill that's, you know, special to Trinidad. Alison?
You have to be in it to know it.
Yes, it certainly is a skill to be able to effectively manage the policing of Carnival. And it's in fact a craft that we have certainly highlighted here in our Trinidad and Tobago Carnival.
We're going to salute you and your wonderful folks, Tom Bailey of the West Indian American Carnival Day Association. Ms. Baboolal, Sharmain is looking at me strange. Sharmain does not know that the wife threatened me that you need to get out there at 10:15. Otherwise.
But all in all, Rennie and Sharmain, it was a beautiful Labor Day, you know, and we start talking 2016. We'll be 50 years old in 2 years' time. And this is the beginning of the preparation for our 50th anniversary. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot more to do, and we are doing it.
Thomas Bailey, as always, thank you so much for making yourself available to us. We appreciate you taking your time to have breakfast with us this morning.
That's always a pleasure talking with you, Rennie.
It is always
and
a pleasure.
Sharmain.
Thank you.
And thanks very much for having us. And you know where to find me if you need me.
Well, after 10:15, the car will be warming up and you'll be heading to that house.
It doesn't have to be on a Sunday.
Have a good day, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.